This may surprise you, but this video is not about soup. Don't mind the tape, the top kept coming off. It starts with a pumpkin. I do not claim to be an artist in any way, but I am going to try something. As with last year, this pumpkin is never going to be stable thanks to me forgetting to cut this thing off. So we're just gonna have to deal with it and not lose the top. You know? Leave it in the mud over there. If only I had thought about cutting it off. So, to the people who will watch this, I don't know if you'll get this, but I certainly hope so. It's not particularly creative or anything, as I am not creating my own design. Well, I am, because it's definitely not going to look like what I want it to look like, but it's part of the process, and I do this once a year. That's my practice. That's what I meant. I do it once a year. I take a pumpkin and I ruin it. Man, I don't know how to start. Curves are incredibly difficult on a pumpkin, as you may know, if you've ever tried to do a curve on a pumpkin with a knife, unless you're somehow talented at putting shapes into pumpkins, which I commend you for. Oh! Nearly stabbed myself. I was looking up the design on my phone and I forgot I had a knife in my hand. So that's fun. I'll try and put the knife down when I'm not using it, like that. Proper knife safety, y'all. So now we find a safe position and we start cutting over here, maybe. Maybe make a little outline. Now, I by no means am an expert of, carving it properly, as every design I want to do requires some depth and some extra steps, but no, I have no idea how to do that with my technique. It's probably a technique problem. And then we go something like this. Oh boy, this is not gonna look good. We've reached the top already. Okay. Well, we can try. I received some suggestions by my brain on what to do, but my brain has decided no. Why would we do something relatively easy when we can do, the hardest thing possible? A human face. Now, I can barely even draw a human face on paper, where I can, wield pencils properly and stuff. Why am I doing it on a pumpkin with an obscenely sharp knife? No clue. Bet you can hardly see that as well, I have a plastic bag vibing on top of that camera since it's raining right now, because my main area of filming is a forest, apparently, since it's the only place I can, be loud and not feel judged about it. But that's alright. And I gotta hope it's a good shape. Oh no. I'm using a reference, and I hope it doesn't betray me. It's not gonna betray me. I'm gonna betray myself 100%. It's tiny. Actually, what I'm gonna do, possibly, is try multiple designs, since this is definitely gonna fall through. Yeah, nah. This is not gonna go well. It's too many details in small space. Actually, I'm gonna be lucky if I don't cut myself here. Yeah, sure, those are eyebrows, who cares? But the pumpkin carving masters of our world don't sit on a stump hunched over like a goblin when doing this either, so until you do it like that, I am better than you. Nah, we shouldn't go about like that, but they are definitely better than me. Do you see how thick this is? No light will shine through this. Every time I come out here like, oh yeah, I haven't carved it out enough, but it'll be fine, you'll see the light through it, and then I have to shine my flashlight through it because you can't see it. I know I chose a miniature pumpkin, but that doesn't exactly mean, make the smallest cuts possible. Because my goodness, I'm gonna have to take some shortcuts here. If you couldn't tell, and I've already disclosed, this is a human face. It's gonna be terrible, and it's way too small, I think. I maybe should have done it lengthwise, or widthwise, or whatever you want to call that. Whoa, that's definitely gonna shine through. Yo, look at my spooky pumpkin. It's so spooky, so scary. That's not the goal here, but... And... Let's see. We do a very precarious nose here. This is looking interesting. We do a nose. You know what, this may end up looking terrifying, which is absolutely my goal. Make it the scariest thing in existence. I want everyone who watches this to be cursed by the pumpkin that I'm making. If you can even recognize this by the end, I am actually if you can recognize this now, I'm very impressed by your skills. Or you may need to get a checkup or something. Oh, goodness. Oh, I broke his mouth. Okay, he looks like a troll face now. Believe it or not, that was not what I was going for. I know it's hard to believe. Okay, this is not good. Those are his eyes. Cool. I do some janky eyebrows. And how do eyebrows work? Yeah, that's way too tall. You know what? Last year's Lenny face worked way better. Yeah, no, I'm not sure about this, honestly. Oh, goodness. This is really... I mean, I could probably turn a pumpkin into a spiral better than I can turn a pumpkin into looking like a human face. You know, like carve it down from the top and turn it into one of those apple spirals, but it's not an apple, it's a pumpkin, because it's a pumpkin, not an apple. It is slowly beginning to rain more and more, which is a fun addition to whenever I do this stuff out here. And me wielding this knife is fantastic. Should I do some kind of like opposite look for him? That would be kind of spooky and would probably end up looking like a different person, which at this point, if it ends up looking like a person, I will be happy. But this is definitely scuffed, and I am the first person to say this. No one can steal this from me. No one can say, oh wait, this is scuffed. No, it's scuffed, believe me, I know. Oh goodness. Yeah. I mean, he has a massive forehead, so that's a start. I've gotten something right. The chances you can actually see what I'm doing, though, are pretty slim. And it just cut way further than I should have. Actually, though, it isn't looking too bad. You know, for some of my skill level. Just absolute garbage. My whole thing about getting better since last year seems to not just be getting better, but taking on a harder challenge from the get-go. Maybe that's a good way. Have trouble with seasickness, or have trouble with motion and stuff? Go become an astronaut. You know, that kind of thing. You're afraid of the dark? Go become an astronaut. You're afraid of small spaces? Okay, I'm just lining these up. I'm not even trying to. But like, go become an astronaut. Tired of having the same meal? Go become an astronaut. What I meant was that, like, if you want to get good at making creative meals when you have the same thing over and over again, there better not be another tree falling, I swear. Go become an astronaut. You tired of trees falling when you're making a video, even though it's only happened once? Go become an astronaut. And if you see a tree out there, there are bigger problems. There are bigger problems. Because maybe you've landed back on Earth by accident. Actually, if I recall, it was rainy last time I did this. This is perfect October. It just feels like an October. It's just gray and sad. And making some kind of weird pumpkin guy. No, okay, well, he's got some extra hair now. At what point do I tell myself this madness has gone on for long enough? We just turn it into an OC and go on with our day. Probably when I finish this, that's what I'll do. I'll just, seems kind of cringe though, to draw your first OC in the pumpkin. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, it's not going as planned. To be fair, most of the stuff that goes, when you're thinking about, oh, I can do this project and I'll do it this way exactly and so on, and it'll be perfect because my brain planned it out this way, yeah. And then you have that problem of your brain not having the actual skills to be able to manufacture or create that thing you thought you could create? Yeah. Common problem here. Common problem. I'm like, wow, I can do ceramics. or something. I can, make a pot, and then I don't. No, I do. I try, and then the teacher just looks at me like disappointed, like, yo, that's not. Like, how did you mess this up? I'm like, bro, I don't know. Have you seen these hands? They are gigantic, and I'm not blaming it on that but I am, There's definitely potters out there with big hands or something, but like, I'm gonna blame it on that anyway, and I'm gonna say, oh, they're not. My big hands they're square. They do stuff squarely. Okay, the hair is beginning to look kinda good though. It's just everything else that looks kinda not good. But I can work with that. If I create a person out of just hair, I'll be golden. And some would argue that there are humans just made of hair. Okay, I can try this thing again. Get in there. Wow, that looks amazing, doesn't it? Wow. Note to self for next year though, I'm definitely going to get a pillow because I am not comfortable. I've put a plastic bag down on this piece of wood that I'm sitting on, this thing right here. But so it's keeping me dry at least, but beyond that it's kind of, yeah. It's kind of fantastic how hard it is. Gotta look at my reference picture. Yeah, I forgot the ears. Humans don't have ears. You heard this from me. Ears are a conspiracy. You can hear stuff through your mouth. I once put headphones on my mouth thinking I could hear through them because I was very tired and I was thinking, oh yeah, this is a logical step. I can just put them on my mouth since my ears hurt. Turns out you cannot hear from your mouth, but that's just something a tired person does. If this is not good enough, I can try and make a second not good person. Caricature. See, if I just call this a caricature, boom, problem solved. It's the best thing in the world. Who would you guess this is? I will put up a poll thing. I'm kidding. Maybe I don't know how to do that. Maybe I do. Guess we'll figure it out. Who is this? Who is it? Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, so the main features that you can see are the eyes, the mouth, and the hair. That's fantastic. And if I keep messing with it, it's gonna look... oh boy, it's gonna look spooky, alright. Bet you can't even... I seem to do a trend of making pumpkins the way that you can only, usually a jack-o'-lantern you're supposed to see it with a light behind it, but I have seemingly decided to make away with tradition and not make it glowable. Though it does glow and it's very spooky. Ho 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 ho. Yeah, this doesn't look like who it's supposed to be. If you haven't guessed it already, and it's very likely that you haven't, because you'd have to be insane to know who this is, I guess. You know that character from that, I mean, you probably don't know about it. It's this small show called Better Call Saul, or, yeah, just Bob Odenkirk in general. I think that's the actor's name. Yeah, I did a fantastic job. I'm sure someone has done no, we'll call him, uh, Zol. Zol Badman. Zol Pumpkin. You know? Pumpman? That sounds kind of bad. Let me give him a little witch's hat. If I can figure out which way the pumpkin goes on. This is Zol. Zol Pumpman. Zol Pumpkin Man. This is my OC. It's on a pumpkin. You can buy this NFT for $900,000. You could just get it here, nowhere else. Okay, that was kind of cringe. NFTs are, we'll stop talking about them because I don't care enough. But oh boy, this was an adventure. You know? Great big effort put into that right there. Gigantic effort. Maybe I don't have the tools for it. Maybe I just didn't have... Now I'm gonna try and make something else. See how well I am just in general. Yes, I will stick my hand into the pumpkin for stability. Why do you ask? Does it feel slimy? Of course it does. It's my favorite texture feeling. Right next to slimy. It is slimy though, so haha. Oh, you thought last video was bad? Finding some person rambling in the woods, next to a fire making soup and talking about soup and tea and stuff? You thought that was sketchy? No, have someone in the woods talking to a pumpkin. I'll let you in on a secret. Nah, I won't. There's no secret. I was kidding. No tree fell. And I didn't set it up last video. But it's... I really hope no one comes by because, oh boy. They won't ask questions because they won't come near me, thankfully. But they'll also judge me. And then at that point I have to hope that I don't know them either. Because knowing them at that point would be, worse. It'd be like, we saw you in the woods. What were you doing? It would be like, I don't know. I wasn't in the woods. And then they'd go get themselves mentally checked. And that's how I avoid situations that are awkward. People are like, hey, what were you doing over there? I'm like, it wasn't me. I was at home. And then they think they're crazy. Gaslighting, you know? It works every time. Okay, now it's actually raining. But I'm not feeling it. Okay, now I'm feeling it on my skin, and I am very glad that I thought ahead and put a plastic bag over y'all. Wow, look at how well I can do lines, am I right? This is so perfect. It looks so good. I like doing lines a lot. They just look good in general. And really fun to do. Really enjoy actually carving out the pumpkin with lines, despite my hands getting cold, because you can just kind of wedge it in on each side and then pop it right out. It's really fun to look at and hear. Have you heard a pumpkin being smashed? I'm not gonna do it because I still intend to eat this, you know, no food waste and all that. But oh boy, smashing pumpkins on the ground sounds kinda... sounds fun. They make a fun sound. It sounds like ice but less wet. Whee! Okay, cool. I wonder if you can hear the rain, because that would be ultimate rain sound, forest sounds to relax and study to. And I wish I could get better sound on this pumpkin, maybe put a microphone in it or something. First of all, I do not have the tech for that. Second of all, I don't want to cut myself and bring it closer because I need the stability of this log, so you get what you get. But trust me, it does sound really good whenever the knife pierces the skin. Pumpkin skin. Do not get any wrong ideas about what I'm doing out here. Just carving a pumpkin. Nothing suspicious. Oh, but when I do this meme, it works perfectly because doing curves is terrible and human faces are the bane of my existence in the drawing world. But when I do this, I can do it perfectly. Look at this meme and appreciate it. It looks fantastic. And if you don't know what this meme is, get educated. This is my meme pumpkin. Let's see, I have one more side. I technically have the back too, but it looks a little weird. What other meme could I do? It doesn't have to be memes either. I could just make a curl. Actually, we're gonna try something, and if you get it, you get it, and if you don't get it, good. Good for you. Actually, I don't know why people hate this one so much, but I think it's a good comic. And it's gonna be a very basic version of it. Because once again, the human form and I are kind of enemies at this point. Just absolutely hate each other. It's gonna be a stick figure. Because, whoo, the head's gonna be the size of my knife blade, because that's how we're doing it. Wow, look, a hole. First hole in the pumpkin. It's actually going to have light shine through. What does... this person's going to have no neck, so if you're bothered by people having no neck, look away now. It's actually going to be one of the easier things I've done since, you know, no, or rather lack of, the whole different levels of depth I really hate depth on a pumpkin or in drawing in general. It's very satisfying, yes, we get it, but also, I cannot do it. Therefore I hate it, and it's perfectly reasonable. You know? Can't do something? Hate it. It's the easiest solution. Oh, okay, let's not cut ourselves, huh? We do something like this. Now we do something like that. Okay, this person's kind of leaning that way. Oh my goodness, I cannot do people. I am just realizing this, I know, yeah, how weird. Just realize now, can't draw people. Haven't noticed in, all of school whenever I got a bad grade for, draw a person, the teacher says. I'm like, yes, a person. Wow, what a fantastic assignment. Thank you for completely failing me. I know you can get better at skills, but my goodness, drawing is not one of them. This one I don't want to mess up. Because it is a funny meme. No, it's not a funny meme. But it's a good artist. He's a wholesome guy, I think. Yeah, this person's looking a little janky. But we're getting her done. Bet you've never seen someone try hard a pumpkin before. What would that even look like? That's definitely not what I'm doing. I just thought about it, and yeah, that's not what I'm doing. I am definitely not try hard. If I am try-harding, the world is in danger. A mosquito on my leg at this time of the year? In this general location? And entirely in my kitchen, where I make soup and tea? Wow, unheard of. Can I get this piece out, please? Thank you. Okay. Come on. Wow, this is not easy, I've said for the 50th time. Come on, get out. You're no longer welcome here, pumpkin piece. Get out. Get out to me car. Remember that video? Wow, that's from a while ago. I think. I'm not even sure what a while ago means anymore, to be fair. Could be 52 years? No, I'm not that old. I'm kidding. Couldn't possibly be that much. Electricity didn't even exist 50 years ago. Old people in the chat get mad at that, apparently. No, I'm kidding. So we got this right. If you know, you know. And if you don't yet know, I will add another hint. And if you know then, you know. And if you don't know, I will not tell you what it is. It's just illegal. Is that a cow? In the distance, mooing? kind of hard to see that, but that says DRR, like dr or something. And imagine that repeated, but like, and the words, this is my hole, it is made for me. And that's your final meme for the day. Never mind, I will tell you. He's a good horror artist, and if you dislike horror, don't do it. Don't look at it. It's like interesting horror though. It's the artist is called Junji Ito. This one particularly is called something Fault Lines. It's a comic. You can look at it places. So we got This Is My Hole, It Was Made For Me. We got Zaul Pumpkin Man, and we got this one. Alright, well, this was exhausting and terribly cold, but I have completed my task, my challenge for the day. Drum roll please for the final product of the pumpkin. We got Zal Pumpkin Man. He looks dead. As lawyers do. We got This Hole Was Made For Me. This Is My Hole, with the complimentary words that you can hardly read over here. It's not a word, it's more like a dra. And we got this one. The meme, the legend. It looks like the best one here. What a surprise. Well, this was fun. I feel like my skills have improved slightly. Except for Zal. Nah, Zal's my OC, so you know. Pumpkins, right? Pumpkins. Actually, before I go, let me drop my artwork into a stump. No, did I destroy it? Yeah, not really, but also kinda. We're gonna post them up over here. And we're gonna see if they pass that test, you know, the definitely candle test. Okay, so Zal Pumpkin Man. Yeah, he looks creepy. The horror comic, This Is My Hole. Yeah, that's definitely something. And this one, I mean, it looks cool. As it's starting to rain a bit more seriously than before, I think I will bid y'all adieu. Goodbye, Zal Pumpkin Man. And whoop.